Good evening. We call to order the Board of Trustees work session for July 15th, 2024. Good evening. Before we start tonight's meeting, I would like to pause for a moment to send our prayers to former President Trump and the innocent bystanders that were killed and wounded Saturday at the rally in Pennsylvania. Also sending our prayers to everyone that attended the rally and viewed it on TV and was traumatized by the incident. If you're a supporter or not of the former president, there is no place for violence at political rallies against any politician or anywhere. We hope the victim rests in peace, and we call for a speedy recovery for the wounded.
Nick was a volunteer fire chief.
First item is 19 North Lawn Avenue, solar.
Doesn't look like they're here.
I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry for the most part.
Trustee Henry, okay for the agenda? Thank you, sir. Trustee Walkie?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Evans? Thank you, sir. Trustee Lopez? Thank you, sir. Review the Lamont Street paper sheet.
I think when this first came up, it said, something to the effect, be careful what you ask for. So, we provided you the survey, which, actually took the company a while to do, as well as, Tony made up, Google Earth overhead thing. So where we started with this, the owner, if you look at the survey, the owner of what would be up off of North Lawn and Lamont, the corner lots 40, and then it said, I think it says 38. That owner there, it's actually all those lots. I believe it's 38, 36, 38, 40. Was interested in acquiring Lamont Street, Paper Street. So the what's depicted there in the survey of Lamont Street, which is a little over 50 foot wide by 136, I think, if I got that right, 135. on the one side, and the other side is about 48 feet wide. So it's your typical, let's say 50 foot right of way. According to this research, according to what everything was told, we own that property. That property is not in the village, but we own it. The edge of that is the village line. You can see in the middle where it says Village of Elmsford, and then it says Town of Greenberg lines. So all of Lamont Street that we own is in the Town of Greenberg. So the first thing that we looked at, we knew right away, was if you see the blacktop next to lot 40, there's a blacktop driveway there. And that goes up to the back of that house there. So we knew right away that that was on Lamont Street after we started looking at that. So that's encroachment number one. There's some other things on Lamont from in different locations, a couple of new trees, etc. But where this started to get kind of hairy, if you look at where Goodwin Avenue comes up, so Goodwin Avenue and Lamont Paper Street connect. They don't connect today with Blacktop, but they connect by the properties. Okay. So the area that I'm looking at is dead center of this right now, dead center of the picture. So you'll see North Goodwin comes up and it stops, and there's a parking area and then a lot of grass. And then you get over to where that Lamont Paper Street is. So that's where I'm talking about right now. So on the survey, you can see these little dots here, dot, 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 dot. And these are little arborvitae trees that were put in. And they come down and they come around. And then there's fence and all of that, so it's vinyl fence. All of that is either on Lamont Paper Street or on North Goodwin Avenue, Paper Street. All that the village owns. So the house at the end of North Goodwin on the left, which really has an address of North Lawn, actually part of the house is on the street. And all of the area of their parking, all the new area that they just fenced in, cleared, and seeded, is all on North Lawn or North Goodwin, and or part of it on Lamont. Okay, so this is open to a huge can of worms. What we took a step back. Normally this would have, when this survey was being done, it would have all been staked. And we told the surveyor not to do that yet. And that was because once we found out what was what, this is going to cause a lot of agita for some people. So we wanted to speak to you first. Probably try to set something up with the village attorney, Tony, and the property owners, each one of them, and describe to them what the problems are, what the issues are, and then stake it.
If that's in the town, how can we own it? How do we own it? How'd that come to be?
There's others, we own other property in the town. We
Yeah.
own property down by
River Street.
River. We own the water tank.
Oh, so
The
it's
water tank
contiguous
is-
to our boundaries?
So probably what happened is at some point that was part of some big subdivision development
Mhm.
that it was deeded, it might have been deeded by mistake to the village,
Okay,
or intentionally, who knows, but it was deeded to us, Lamont.
okay.
But even if it turned out today that Lamont wasn't ours, we still have the problem at the end of North Goodwin. And it's a serious problem. If you went up there and looked, you'll see how serious it is.
So let me make sure I'm understanding. There's property that we own that they were originally looking to purchase from us. Am I correct with that?
Which is the Paper Street, Lamont.
Okay,
Correct.
right. However, what this has uncovered is that there's property that we own that is in essence been used or commandeered by someone who's believed along all these years that it was their property. Am I correct?
Well, I'm gonna say that not all these years, I'm gonna say for a very short period of time that our property was taken over by that house. Where the house is on, it was like a foot onto it, which that happens all the time. It's also, they have taken over other people's properties, because if you look at, right in the middle, you'll see lot 21, lot 20. And the trees and the fence are on those. We own lot 21, I believe. And somebody else owns lot 20, and it's not the people who are sitting on it. So
Okay.
this is gonna become, this is really a
How long ago,
municipal, private three-way issue.
how long ago did they put this stuff up?
That's the clearing out, the fence, the arborvitae's are in the last year.
Oh, well, then we still have time to get them off. Because they've been there for like a year or two.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter.
That
You
would be-
can't, no, you can't take our property.
Not our property, but other people's property.
Yeah,
They're
but you
there
still,
to get them off.
you still have to, there's a whole lot of process you have to do. You have to, to take their property, you have to pay their taxes or attempt to pay their taxes. And it's like a 5 or 7 year window. It's very difficult. Very difficult.
Mike, is there any reason why we wouldn't take the property or demap it? If it's all in the town?
Yeah, well, from day one, I figured we would demap Lamont and sell it to the people who are interested in purchasing.
Right,
Because we have no use for it. Yeah, I can see us never using that.
yeah,
Unless, the only part I can see us is if we continue North Goodwin to Lamont. And then it's kind of foolish because you can't take the turn out into North Lawn. You just could create a disaster.
Hmm.
So my original thought is that we were gonna eventually would demap Lamont Street and sell it to who's interested in it, offer it to the adjoining property owners. And then when this other issue came up, we got two choices there too. We demap that and sell it to these people, or we, do a license agreement, but it's so large. I wouldn't do a license agreement. I mean, it's been the way it was taken over. And then if lot 21 is truly ours, actually, I think now that I think about it, lot 21 goes with lot 22 and 23. That's the same owner. So they're encroaching on their property there substantially on the back, at least almost a quarter of that lot.
I'm sorry, you said 21 is the same owner as 21, 20.
21, 22, and 23, I think.
Thank you.
And then 20. Goes with 19.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 and 19 go together. And possibly 18 also. Oh, no. But if you look at the picture, look at this picture. See where the car is?
Hold on.
So the car, blacktopped area,
Yes.
that's all on the village right. That's all on the village street. And then keep going straight, all that grassed area, the fence, the trees, it's all in the village property. And that's all been improved within the last couple of years
By the owner of,
by the owner of,
84 North Lawn.
84.
84.
Correct.
Okay.
They have a little garden there, everything. So, I mean, unless you're totally opposed, I think we said we have the attorney draft a letter to the North Lawn person encroaching on North Goodwin, give them a brief synopsis and say, we want to sit down with you, describe this to you. And then I guess do the same thing with, the person who's interested in buying it, notify them that you're already encroaching on it, on the Lamont part, and see what kind of conversation we have with them. I can't imagine the North Lawn people are gonna be very pleased.
I'm gonna go with a no.
So,
I'm gonna go with a no.
You probably have to wait for his surveyor to go out and verify it.
oh, absolutely. But, I mean, I'm recommending we do that, not bring them into a meeting.
Review the ambulance billing.
A few months back, we received a notice from our current billing company that they are dropping us. They were purchased by another company who doesn't do business with people as efficient as us. That way. We're too small. So Nelson had run into some people at a couple of places he goes to. I ran into a few people, we talked to them, asked for information, and then Nelson and I met. And we went over and decided that this Proclaim was the best of the people that we talked to. So then we met with the gentleman involved with this company again, asked him to refine his proposals to us, and they're now to the point where we think they fit our needs. Did background checks on them. That they know what they're doing. I think they're heads and shoulders above the company with that. And I thought the company with now was fantastic. So we're proposing that you give us the authority to move forward to replace our current company with this company. What that timeline is, I don't know yet, because even though the timeline for us with them was November, I believe we can get out of our contract before November because they're dropping us. So Nelson and I, with your blessing, will proceed with Proclaim to try to get either going in August or September if that's feasible. September is probably definitely feasible as long as we can drop the other company. So I have to just have Dan look at the agreement that we originally have, and that's what we're recommending that we do.
Trustee Henry, okay for the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Coffee?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Evans?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Lopez?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. VOC meeting on June 27th. As we had been talking about a while ago, if we're going to do the implicit bias training again, Ardsley had recommended and the other villages recommended we find somebody else. Ardsley found a Dr. Connolly. She's sending over a proposal. We can look at that. And the rest of the group will look at it. It would be shortened, probably 3 hours. And they would do nights, days. So there'd be more chance of more people getting there. The other villages are very insistent on making sure all the volunteers attend, so they're trying to make it accessible to all of them. A couple of the villages are talking about banning bamboo or invasive plants Can't plant them, but if they are existing, you must maintain them so they don't spread and kill other vegetation. Um, Sending a letter to the town of Greenberg to put them on notice about items in the A budget. It started out with the Odell House, and they really just want to make it more generic and say, they want to go over the entire A budget with the town, see what they put in there, and they were also asking for future items to put, when they go to put stuff in a budget in the future, that the town notifies the villages, and they sit down to explain every item that's going in there. Everybody's upset over the assessments because some of the assessments went up in some villages. They had talked about trying to write a letter to the representative to change the law on assessments. So how it's done. A couple of the Hastings was looking about bringing a person in to speak to the VLC to better explain assessments. So we'll see where that goes. The climate super fund passed both houses, waiting for the governor to sign it. The funds from the polluters would go to fix items in communities because the CEC program funding is supposed to go away, so this will substitute that. So they're hoping that the governor does sign it so that there is some more funding available for communities to fix things. On the choice education, one of the villages wanted to have somebody come in to do a present to the VOC. There's a lot of issues on that. Let's see if they find somebody. The Tarrytown mayor had made a complaint that when she went to vote at town hall, that people were coming up to her, and she believes it was outside the distance of the election marker, but she felt that she was overwhelmed by people coming to her, so she's gonna ask the board, she's writing a letter to the board of elections on her behalf. Not speaking for all of us, to make sure the line is clear, so when people go into town hall, that they're not bombarded with people politicking for elections there. 10, back to the deer. Overrun by deer in Irvington and Dobbs Ferry. Irvington did finally vote on it, and they have a contract. They're gonna have a single person do bow hunting. They hired somebody to measure impact of what the outcome is. They did a study that the woods would not be there in 20 years if they let the deer stay there. And then all the erosion would then cause a lot of flooding, so they want to stop that now. So they actually gave permission to somebody to come in and hunt between 6 and 8 a.m. from October to December. As everybody knows, the OSHA wants to make things harder for the fire department training. It would actually hurt the volunteers. So the one of the lawyers of the village is going to put together a letter and give it to the fire department to see if they like that, and then we would send it up to Albany. Sustainable Westchester had sent over new technology for storage batteries, zero thermal runaway batteries. Can't become self-igniting before, like the old ones used to. Now these can't, and they're safe from fire inside. They can start a fire outside, but they can't start from the inside out. So Sustainable Westchester is looking into that. Dobbs Ferry has a very big waterfront, and down by their parks there, they're getting overrun by a lot of garbage, a lot of parties, a lot of noise. And the Dobbs Ferry Police Department say that's not a police function. They don't want to patrol the parks anymore. So they
Nice.
they're protesting, patrolling the parks to keep the peace. They're trying to work that out and figure it out, but all the other villages have parks department staff in all their parks, so, you know, trying to keep a handle on it. And then obviously Dobbs Ferry's parks people call if they need help, but that was interesting to hear that. Don't get any ideas.
I just have a few items before we go into our regular meeting. First off, with the implicit bias training that you mentioned, Dr. Connolly, I know Dr. Connolly personally, worked with her on the Westchester County Youth Board. There could not be a better option to come in there and do that. So hopefully, you guys at the VOC definitely go that route. Another item, I sent an email on Juneteenth to determine how and why a Father's Day luncheon was scheduled on Juneteenth. I requested a prompt reply to that email, and I did not receive a response until 2 days later. I was told one of the staff members that helps with putting those dates together was out until Tuesday. Senior that helps with it fell and broke their ribs. And for some reason on that reply, our village attorney was removed from that email. So in my email response to that, I disputed the facts that were in that email and posed very specific questions, 6 to be exact, to be addressed. These 6 questions remain unanswered to this day. So let's review what those 6 questions were. 1, was the staff member present for that luncheon that day? 2, were they there in a volunteer capacity or working as an employee for the village? 3, was their presence at the event required? 4, if so, who issued the directive requiring them to attend that event? 5, if one of the 2 days that the individual was out of the office was to compensate them for having to work that day? And 6, what is the name of the specifically referenced senior who is responsible for the scheduling of events? Williams, would you like to take the opportunity to address any of those questions now?
I was gonna do it during my committee report, but if you want to do it now,
I would.
oh, sure, you sure? Well, I'm sure most of us in here are fathers. And I'm sure that at some time in the last 5 years, any one of us in this room during Father's Day got together with family and friends to celebrate Father's Day. I'm sure that we went out with our fathers, we took them out, or we went out because our kids took us out. So I'm sure that sometime in the last 5 years, that has happened. So thank you, Mr. Evans, Trustee Evans. I'd like to answer your questions. So Trustee Evans was concerned that the village had its seniors Father's Day on Juneteenth, and he felt that was disrespectful. As mayor, I have always taken responsibility for the good and the bad as the buck stops here. I would like to take this time to apologize to Trustee Evans and anyone else that was hurt or offended that we held Father's Day lunch on June 19th. Next year, we can put into the budget, if we wish to have a June 19th celebration. But on breaking the implicit bias but rule, here are some reasons why the seniors Father's Day was held on Juneteenth. There are a bunch of seniors that still work and have requested that every once in a while we hold events on holidays, nights, and weekends so they can attend, which we have done. This year alone, we had Valentine's Day lunch on President's Day. So doing some research on Juneteenth, went to Google and asked some people, and this is what I got. Is Juneteenth a happy day? Observing Juneteenth each year on June 19th does memorialize that specific day in Galveston in 1865, but it also symbolic. Many regard the holiday as a joyful anniversary of independence and an opportunity to remember the country's foundation on centuries of slavery. Juneteenth festivities are rooted in cookouts and barbecues and the beginnings of the holiday celebrated as Black Americans' true Independence Day. The outdoors always allowed for large reunions among formerly enslaved family. Many of them have been separated. Since it's designated a federal holiday in 2021, Juneteenth has become more universally recognized beyond Black America. Many people get the day off from work or school, and there's a plethora of street festivities, fairs, concerts, and other events. Celebrations include picnics, rodeos, street fairs, cookouts, family reunions, park parties, historical reenactments, blue festivals, and Miss June 19th contests. So looking at that, again, we apologize. I apologize, as I always take responsibility, but doing all the research on that, and reading all the research, June 19th is a happy day to celebrate, so I felt no harm in holding it then. Trustee Evans was also concerned that no people of color attended the lunch. That is not true. I apologize, did not get the attendance list for you by today, but I will give that to you and you can look at that and see the people of color that were there. Trustee Evans also said a certain staff member had no role in planning the monthly calendar. Not true again. Here are 3 emails showing how that person picks dates for the calendar. I will read them to you. The staff member emailed me. It says, "Good morning, Mayor. On April 5th, we reserved Alicia for the Nutrition Pro Shop workshop. On April 5th, we reserved Alicia for the nutrition workshop. Please find the attached flyer for the nutrition workshop for the May calendar. As an FYI, Alicia is available on Friday, June 12th. She is all set." Trustee Evans was also concerned that a person was forced to work the holiday. Again, not true. Here's an email saying that a person will probably not work due to medical reasons. Good afternoon, Mayor. I wanted to give it to you. Here's the latest copy of Father's Day lunch and sign-up sheet. I wanted to give it to you because I don't think my mouth will be up to being around any food for a while. I figured you can handle it this one without me, since it'll be hosted at a restaurant. And knowing that she was going to have surgery, we had it at a restaurant instead of doing it at the senior center. Trustee Evans also asked why a staff member was directed to work on June 19th. While, as I just showed, that person was not supposed to work, but at 9 a.m. I received a text and it said, on June 19th, that person texted me and said she will pick up the cake and meet me there. This employee is a person who regularly gets the cakes for special occasions. So the prior email shows that she wasn't supposed to work until the morning of, and then she decided that she was going to come. So I didn't tell anybody to work. That's why we're having the restaurant, because she wasn't supposed to be there. Trustee Evans was also concerned that some of the seniors were consulted of what events they were interested in. Well, they should be. It's for them. We do ask the seniors to contribute to what they want and when. It's called feedback. We ask different people if we're going on a far walking tour. We ask the people that can't walk so well. If it's going to be on a boat, do too many people get sick, doing all kinds of things like that. So there's other people that contribute to ideas to the calendar. Yes, he did send me, Trustee Evans did send me an email and asked about the person, and I said the person was going away for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I will get back to him. So I could not get back to him until I got all the answers. And also a person who was injured is one of the people that we do consult to ask. And to the HIPAA laws, I can't give you the name because I told you the person broke their ribs. But not just that person, but there are a lot of people who give us lists every day, every week, every month, and they want to contribute to ideas for the seniors. Also, not that I have to explain, but one of our residents, who was a Lifetime Village resident, I was volunteering my service, again, volunteering at a wake, and I was there from 3 o'clock to almost 9 o'clock. So no, I didn't have time to answer your email that back day. Then you went and put something up on Facebook and said, I owe an explanation to the public. So I figured I'd wait and I would address the public today. Plus, I wanted to make sure I have a full reason to everything. But there's also some more information on why we held Father's Day lunch on June 19th. Father's Day was signed into law as a holiday on April 24th, 1972. June 19th was signed into law as a holiday on June 17th, 2021. In 2022, the next year, a year after June 19th was signed into law, Sunday, June 19th was on the same day as Father's Day. So everyone in the world that celebrated June 19th on Father's Day was guilty of being disrespectful. Also, people have birthdays and anniversaries. They can't all be disrespectful for that. Some famous people were born on June 19th. Al Wilson, Will Frazier, Ann Wilson, resident Nicole Valassen, and other people. There's also, as you know, there's national days. There's National Donut Day, National Hot Dog Day. Well, on the same day of Juneteenth is National World Soldering Day, which is a slow down and enjoy life day, National Watch Day, and National Garfield the Cat Day. So I mean, they shouldn't have picked it, or they should have canceled these other ones that did. Juneteenth will again fall on Father's Day in 2033, 2044, and 2050. So looking at the research showing that Juneteenth is a happy day to celebrate finally all of the slaves being free. Looking at the research and looking at that Juneteenth falls on Father's Day, why couldn't you have Father's Day on Juneteenth? So it would be the same thing. So then I said, well, you know what? Let me do a little bit more homework. I said, let me ask some people of color about holding Father's Day on Juneteenth. Every single one of them, again, all these are people of color, and every single one of them said there's no problem at all. Bishop Jude comes from Africa. Father Augustine, former superintendent of schools, Dr. Carol Franks Randall. Hi, Bob. I'm flattered that you value my opinion. From my point of view, there is no problem in holding a Father's Day celebration on Juneteenth. There is a link between the end of slavery and the importance of fathers in the lives of their families. I see a natural link that is real and not contrived. I'm impressed with your diligence and your attention to detail. As I have said many times, Elmsford is fortunate to have you as a mayor of your caliber. Longtime resident Carol Nichols, she's 88 years old. I asked her opinion. She also said she had no problem. Lifetime resident Roberta Hall, whose father was a commanding officer of the constables and her grandfather founded the constables, also agreed it's a happy celebration day. So in conclusion, I once again will apologize to Trustee Evans if he was offended, and to anybody else that was offended. Doing that research, we thought that it was a happy day and that there wouldn't be any issues with that.
So just for clarity, you did the research prior to making that determination to hold it on that date?
The Google stuff here.
Great. So my question then becomes, if that research was conducted prior to, in that first email, why not mention that?
Well, because I wanted to make sure that I had all the information for you,
All of what information?
all of it. Everything that it is at,
But you had already done it.
not all of it.
You just said you did all the research prior
didn't-
to making the
you said-
determination of the
I
date.
said some, I didn't say all.
So what research was done prior to the selection of the
I
date?
did
out of
have
that
to go
research?
back in my computer at home and look what dates were done on what. I'll let you know. I just printed it out and read it to you. I don't know what dates.
Okay, so I'm just curious in which order this happened. Did we ask those residents and those individuals prior to selecting the date or after selecting?
After,
After, okay. But you did the Googling prior.
yes,
So let me make sure I'm understanding. You went to Google for answers on Juneteenth as opposed to the vast Black community that exists in this village?
it usually has the answers for everything.
So I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
the idea was, let me learn about this.
Right.
Let me go to Google.
Let me
and
learn
not
about it
my-
and see that it was,
Not my community members that live here.
right, let me learn
Okay,
about it,
just wanna
make
make
sure it's
sure.
a happy day.
Just want to make
and
sure.
Find out that it was, yeah.
I just want to make sure. So I think it's great that I'm being lectured to about what Juneteenth is about. That's rich. So
No, actually, just read you the facts.
and I just want to clarify, did we compare Juneteenth to National Cat Day just now?
No,
Something about Garfield? I remember something about
didn't
Garfield.
compare it to it, just listen to what dates were also on that day.
Okay, because it definitely.
Comparing, no.
Sounded like okay. And then what aspect of the scheduling did the employee, when they came back to work, what aspect of that scheduling were they able to give you light upon that you would not have had prior?
That she wasn't going to be there that day, and she reassured that, and then. Yeah,
I think I don't think I'm being clear, so I apologize.
it's okay.
She came back to work, and that was
On
part of the,
Tuesday.
right. And you needed to speak with her because you needed to have all the information.
Mhm.
So in that conversation, what additional information did she provide that you didn't have before?
None.
None. So there was no information that you learned afterwards that you didn't already learn before,
From her.
correct?
There's nothing I learned from her after I spoke to her. I
That you
didn't
did
know.
not already know before.
Correct.
Okay. So then what was the importance of her needing to return to work before providing an answer?
Because I had to ask her. I didn't know that there was no information until after I asked her.
Okay. And what exactly was she asked?
How did we pick the date?
And she has no idea how we picked the date.
Except that We
So who picked the
it-
date?
Picked it, I sign off on the calendar.
I didn't ask that question. Who picked the date?
Bunch of the seniors. They all, a lot of the ones that work ask for dates to be done on holidays
Okay.
and weekends and stuff.
So
So we took recommendations from the
the
seniors.
seniors collectively decided that that was
Not
going
all
to
of
be.
them, no. In other words, every week, people give us things. Here, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to go there, I want to go there. So people said, look, we don't want to do Father's Day on Father's Day. Don't want to do it on a weekend, that weekend. Can we do it on the holiday? So they can attend, and they did.
I reached out directly to that staff member in question. I'm really glad that you read those emails because they kind of go in line with exactly what she said, that she didn't handle the scheduling of the Father's Day luncheon on Juneteenth.
Correct.
She went as far as even expressing that she was not planning to attend due to, dental work. So that all aligns. She was, however, pressured not only to be present for the event, but also in picking up the cake for the event. So that needs to be clearly understood that this to her was not her volunteering to do that. So I want to make that very
was
clear.
what?
She was not volunteering to do that. She felt pressured.
I didn't
do
know she
that.
was coming until 9 o'clock that morning. So
This
she
was-
wasn't pressured at all.
I'm,
Okay.
I-
I told her I was
I'm
going,
expressing
I told
how,
her,
I'm
that's fine.
expressing how it was
You-
expressed
but
to me.
I'm telling you, okay, and I just proved to you in writing that she wasn't coming to the event. She sent me a text 9 o'clock in the morning that she would pick up the cake and attend. I had told her the week before that I would get the cake if she can order it and I would go get it at Sam's Club. So she had no intention of coming until 9 o'clock in the morning. She sent a text to me and said she was coming. So there was no pressure about her saying that she had to be there. That's why we knew a month ahead of time that she wasn't going to be there to have it in the restaurant, because without her assistance, we couldn't do it at the senior center.
Did she book the venue?
No, I did,
So,
because of that.
okay. So the only aspect of the calendar that she has any role in is the monthly nutrition workshops, right? And as evidenced by your email. So there's agreement.
There's more,
There's agreement on that.
Yeah.
So not the calendar, not the flyers, not the email notifications, that she has no role in that. So that's all that I have on that one. That was all I was really going to have until I get forwarded emails earlier today. So I have questions now about how we place ads for tag sales.
that's another easy one.
What staff members
Mhm.
is responsible for placing ads in the Journal News and the Penny Saver?
My wife, Deborah.
Okay.
So I'll I'll tell you how that works. I stole this idea from Hastings, Tarrytown, Ossining, North Castle. They have a village right tag sale. So at the village right tag sale, we collect $5 from everybody that wants to have a tag sale. We use that money, we pay for the ad in the Journal News and the Penny Saver. Okay, my Deborah, who's been doing it since we started it, because not to burden more people, calls the Journal News, calls the Penny Saver and places the ad. Okay, to my not knowing, because she handled that, this year, most of the way through the week, she said, I can't get to the Journal News. And matter of fact, I'll play you the recording from the Journal News, okay, in a second. The Journal News was out of service. Okay, she couldn't place an ad. Okay, and again, I'll play that recording for you. So we always collect more money than what it costs for the Journal News and a Penny Saver. So she told me that couldn't get through the Journal News. And then she stopped placing it in the Penny Saver because they don't do the books anymore. I said, okay. So I wrote a letter to everybody and said, I'm giving the money back. The money came out of my pocket because I felt that my wife and I, who were responsible for placing the ad, couldn't get through the Journal News. So I took the X amount of dollars of how many people had the tag sales, took $5 for each person and gave it back out of my pocket. The village still kept the money. Okay, which people say I'm crazy because that's all the money is used for, is to we collect the money to pay for the ad. So that's how the system works on the tag sale. So since we couldn't place the ad, I felt it wasn't right to keep the money for the people because they didn't get what they were told they were gonna get. They didn't get the ads. So that's only the right thing to do, is give the money back.
But the money came from you?
I do that all the time. I give away most of my salary to things like that. You have no idea. It costs me money to work, more money to work.
So when the funds were collected, were they turned into the village treasurer?
Yes,
Okay.
the clerk.
So from a bookkeeping question, the money was collected for one purpose, then not used for that purpose, and then residents receive their money back. There, how are we?
The village got a donation of $100, whatever it was.
But we see kind of like the issue with
Yeah,
like
they got the donation there. I gave a donation to the village.
but you see how kind of like that's not exactly how it's going to play out when we're talking about like bookkeeping. We're talking about numbers. It's not the way that's going to look.
Yeah, I told the treasurer it's a donation.
You've got to see what I'm saying here, right? Right? We collected funds to put an ad in, right? Then that ad is never placed.
So
But
it's
the
only,
people are received, but
people got their money back. So I gave a $100 donation to the village.
Okay.
Which I do all the time.
did we put an ad in the Penny Saver last year? And why were
Yes.
we unable to put an ad in the Penny Saver this year?
I told you.
You
Well,
said the
because-
Journal News.
Right, I told it because they stopped producing the books.
When did they stop producing the books?
That I don't know. You have to ask Deborah that. She told me this time that she's not gonna do the penny saver anymore, to take it off of the application because they don't make books anymore. It's only online.
I just picked up 5 copies today.
That's what she told me. I'm only knowing what she said. They don't have them in any stores here anymore like they used to.
I just got it from Ellie's by Staples.
And news to me. I'm just telling you what she
I
told
brought
me.
your copy.
Okay.
We have, folks, we have to do better.
How better than that? The village made $100 and they got the money back. Everybody was happy.
You fail to see the issue.
You do. You're trying to twist something and do politics 101 instead of realizing that here it is. I was decent enough instead of giving the village $100. When was the last time you made a donation to the village?
There are
Okay, so anyway, you're right.
there
You're
are-
right. No, you're right. Correct. You have it. So my point is that instead of taking the money out of the village, just, keep the money because the clerk had to collect all the applications. She had to write me a note on all the people that gave me the things. She gave me the applications. I fill it out. I do all the typing, all that. And then, we put the thing on the Facebook. I put the flyer on the Facebook and all that, blah, blah, blah. So it costs us, some money for her time to do that. So I said, keep $100.
Right, but can we kind of stop pretending that this was this benevolent donation when in
It
actuality?
was nothing other than that.
It was, because here's the
No,
fact.
no, zero. You can
Let's
keep
speak truth
talking.
for a
but
second.
nothing.
Because in actuality, it should have never gotten to that point. If there were actual processes and procedures in place that we actually followed around here, when it came to how bookkeeping is done, when it came to how communications are done, when it comes to actually having job descriptions, figuring out who in this building is supposed to do what, we would have never run into an instance whereby we don't know that a publication doesn't actually publish when in actuality they do.
Yeah, but the Journal News was out of service.
You're harping on that point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's harp on the fact that it should have not taken, it should not have taken a resident reaching out and saying, why wasn't this done? For you to find out that it wasn't done.
No.
And that, and wait a minute,
That's
and
not
had
true.
that person not reached out, were they getting their money back?
Yes, I already had the envelopes typed up.
That's absolutely not true.
Yes, it is.
You know how that's not true? Because if you look at the chain of emails, which I
I
read,
just made you
you
change
didn't,
emails, but I
you
had the
didn't
envelopes typed up.
mention that until the second go round when you found out that
Right.
there was no ad placed. You had no idea.
But in the middle of there, when I found out, when Deborah kept telling me that she kept calling every day of the week and she called on Friday and they said, it was out of service again and hopefully they will get it in on Saturday and they didn't, so. I said, okay, so let me type up these things.
This is not the way villages operate, and this is a shame.
It's a shame to you that you want to donate $100 to the village.
Mr. Mills, I just have a quick question, unrelated. Can we just get an update on the rec director, the comprehensive plan and the body cams, if you wouldn't mind? The rec director comprehensive plan and body cams. Beautiful.
Planning, our plan. They expect about, as you know, back to that.
The body cams.
My kids are working with Mr. Procian and Mr. Nazo, we were able to separate the two things. Remember the last
Mhm.
discussion here was that the amount of money wasn't enough to do this, or enough to do that with the grant, and it's kind of like a pyramid type of thing.
And never met, like, and then trustee
So-
Lopez and I were like, all right, let's just, we have to fund it.
Right, they said, like, body cams are X amount of dollars. Let's separate them out from the project, from the rest of the project, which is the rest of the equipment and storage, et cetera, which pay for. The grant is for this amount of money. Let's get that information to Senator Gonzalez, grant people. So we can get that approved, we get that ordered, and then move to the next step. We're still waiting for Cousins to come back on that they're okay. Steve, Tommy was away, and Steve's away, so hopefully we get that done. We get an answer.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. that one.
Yeah.
Motion to close the work session.
Mr. Mayor, just one thing. Can you just give me a minute?
Yeah, sure.
I just wanna understand about Joe Gallo. In my eyes, he's an excellent worker. So I wanna know if the village tried to give him some kind of a incentive so he can stay with the village. Did anybody talk to him, try to change his mind about leaving the village? Again, I'm concerned that we're losing great people. We gotta have a way, we gotta have a plan to try to keep these employees who are good to the village, who do the work, and all of a sudden they leave for other places. So I just want to make sure that I understand that the village is doing something to try to keep the good workers in the village.
I think at the last meeting, you weren't here. We discussed that and he was offered a position. No, he was interviewed for a position. And he really wasn't right for the position.
What position was that, if you don't mind me asking?
He was interested in the mechanic position that he was not qualified for, so he quit. Yeah, what he wanted, so he quit. That's the gist of it. He didn't get a job he was not qualified to do, cried about it and quit.
So you're saying that he didn't qualify for the mechanical position? Was that a level higher than what he's now, or?
Well, I guess he was the MEO, so I mean, I guess maybe the foreman would be the only thing higher than that. Unless we would create something else, but for the way our stages of advancement go now, it's, you know, labor, MEO, and then you get into an assistant foreman or foreman or mechanic, which, I mean, you know, South Kent, especially on, you know, having jobs and vehicles.
All right, did you try to talk to him to try to convince him to maybe take something else, something different?
There is nothing
It
different.
was nothing different. Okay, it was where he was, in the tax position, or, you know, you just kind of, happy where you're at.
There's a little thing that you say you're missing. It's called the CSCA contract.
Mm,
And individual people can't negotiate their own deals that are under the CSCA contract. And there's no, we have, in the highway department, we have the general foreman. We have the assistant foreman, neither one of them are covered under CSCA. Then we have the equipment operators, which we have 4 of those right now. And then the laborers, that's it. Those are the only titles. That, and they're all CSCA contracts, so we have to follow those rules. That's why, if you recall, you might not have been at the meeting. We posted, Ryan had done some inquiring amongst the people within the department, because that's where we'd like to promote first, about the position. He said he had spoken to Joe, he had spoken to John, and we brought it here to the board, and then we posted the position for 10 days to open it up to other people in our group if they were interested. And it was posted, and that's when then John was hired after. He was the only applicant. Joe didn't apply for the job position.
Why is that though? All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Motion to adjourn the work session?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor? Opposed, carried.